Okay, Zels. So Rassie's really waited late to give us this team. We knew there'd be lots of changes. We will be back in studio on Monday for those who object to these Zoom calls, but at least we get our message to you and you get to hear Zels' great insights. Rassie Russman, he's only kept 4 players from that wonderful win against France. 4 of the starting 15 will start against Italy on Saturday afternoon at a reasonable time. I think it's 2:40 that we start. It's not 22:10. And I think it's 10 out of the 23 or 11 out of the 23 they get to go again. Fantastic bench. No specialist hooker on the bench. Marco van Staden starts at 8 to cover at hooker, but he is actually a number 6 flank. You got to love Rassie.
Mate, this is Rassie at his best. I love this team selection for a number of reasons. Some really brave calls. Let's start with the midfield combo of Ethan Hooker at 12 and Kane Moody at 13. 2 young guns coming through. We're all excited about them. They're playing their favored positions. Both of those guys are super clutch. They've proven their worth in the wider channels. Now they get closer to the action and looking forward to it. Not to underestimate the challenge posed by the Italian midfield mate. Super excited to see them go, and that sort of sets the scene for the rest of the starting lineup. A lot of changes like Jean Klein and Franco Mostert in the second row. It's a massive opportunity for them to put their hands up and remind people that they're still around and eager to go to the next World Cup. And that theme rings true throughout. And I think that's the perfect selection between a France game and an Ireland game against an Italian team coming off a historic win against Australia. Those guys will still have a bit of champagne in their ears. And now they've got to pick it up and face the world champions. And not a world champion team that's looking ahead to next week's clash against Ireland. The world champions, second stringers, who are frothing to get stuck into them. And just to add a little icing to the cake, mate, they're playing in Juventus's home stadium, which the Boks haven't played in before, if memory serves correctly, and it's quite a cauldron. So there's so many layers to this game. I love that Rassie's rolled the dice with some of the selections, and a huge opportunity for the new guys to put their hands up.
Yeah, I think there's certainly no underestimating of the Italians. They won 29-11 against, or lost 29-11 against the All Blacks late last year. They troubled them for the best part of the 75 minutes. They beat Australia a couple of years ago. They beat Australia last weekend. I think it was 22-17 against Ireland last season. Ireland hanging on in the end against Italy. Italy at home have proven to be a hell of a difficult team to beat. So we're going to have to play well. As Tony Brown said, the Boks are going to have to be switched on. Given the win against Australia, there may have been a temptation for Rassie to say, hang on a second, we need to make this team a little bit stronger. But this team was picked long before this tour started, especially, as you say, the combination of Hooker and Moody in the midfield. It's one that everyone's been crying out for as a combination. 2 wonderfully talented individual players. But make no mistake, first time they're going to be playing together against a very settled Italian midfield that is one of the better ones around in Test rugby.
No, spot on, no doubt about it. I think it's Menoncelli, the Benetton. I think it's a Benetton centre, mate. Is absolute weapon. And yeah, they're just a much more settled team. But then you've got to think, look, they fired a lot of ammo in that win against Australia. Now to pick it up for the world champions, they'll be frothing. The mind will be there, but can the body go again? But the advantage they have is obviously against quite a fresh-looking Bok team. Some key positions filled by guys who are quite new to the scene. Zach Paulson gets another go. We'll be rooting for him again. Italians historically good scrummages. And the breakdown is set to be a massive battle. You've got Cohesion coming off the bench, Marco van Staden starting, and eventually shifting to hooker, we think, in the second half. Andre Estes, and where's he going to play, mate? We don't know. That's why you're going to tune in and watch. Just massively excited. Exactly.
As your line-out player. When you look at that, when you look at that starting 8, though, it's not one that evokes incredible scrumming fear into the opposition. It's one that will handle itself. But then you look at that bench and you think, do I want to be on the field in the second 40 if I'm an Italian? Because with the greatest respect to Buonfante, he's into his first season. Krobbies is there. Jean Klein and Franco Mostert, experienced blokes, but they haven't played a hell of a lot of Test rugby. And then an interesting back row. Marco van Staden, the next one to play 8. Evan Roos thinking, where am I? Tick off another one there.
Ridiculous.
Puppy's back at 9. Then obviously the big guy, Pollard, double World Cup winner. And if you do follow us and you know our collaboration with Pick and Pay ASAP, it's the smart kicker game. You can just tap, play, and kick, and you can win up to 10 million rands worth of prizes. And the best kicker in the business is back in business for the Boks on Saturday. It's Andre Pollard. He's edging closer to breaking Percy Montgomery's record for the most points by a Springbok in Test history. So are you a Pollard? Are you a Manie Lebok? Are you a Damian Williams? Or are you a Sasha? Play that game. It is rather addictive, I've got to tell you. Once you get on, you don't want to get off. But looking at Pollard, he's been patiently sitting in the stands, waiting, biding his time. He'll be chomping to get in there and get a good 15, 20 points closer to Monty's record.
Yeah, no doubt whatsoever. He'll be frothing for this opportunity and to get back on the field. Having said that, I can see why we've kept him on ice. We know exactly what you're going to get from Andre Pollard. The questions are, what else do we have? So Pollard, you can easily unwrap him for that World Cup and he'll be an A-plus option again. But I'm very keen to see how he goes in this combination with Morne van den Berg and behind this pack, which, as you pointed out, may not be the flashiest pack, but every single one of those guys is a mechanic. You have a car breakdown, all of those oaks will be able to fix your car. They're all blue collar, roll up their sleeves, get stuck in, overachievers. Jean Klein, Franco Mostert, Johan Grobbelaar, Brian Venter, the new guy to the mix. Ben Jason Dixon loves a tackle. Marco van Staden, I mean, come on. Italy, I think, are going to have a lot of ball and have a lot of shoulders at around sternum height on the weekend. So these guys will soften them up in the first half. And then, as you mentioned, that power bench comes back on. Gerard Steenekamp, Wilco Louw, Ergius Neyman, Roan Nokia, Liewe Dorner. It's going to be amazing.
Kwagga Smith, Andre the Giant, and then you've got Grant Williams and Manie Lebok just to put on the Harlem Globetrotter stuff. It's going to be a fascinating first 40. It's going to be a hell of a battle. And I think people should also understand this is a good Italian side at home. It's not the Italian side that came to South Africa and lost 45-0 in Cabrera. There's 12 changes to that 23. The South African, Ross Vincent's there again. He's getting a lot of game time. He's improving every time. They've been very good and they're very settled. I know you love the Italian coach. It must be the Argentinian in you. We up for a proper test match, at least for 60 minutes, I would say. And then when I look at our bench, I think that will be the deciding factor again. And we've seen it time and again with this Boks team. Don't look at the starting 15. Look at the match 23 in totality. And I think he's picked a very interesting but a very powerful 23 because the big guns are coming on to finish off a game that he wants to test Zach Porthen in a very proper scrumming environment. Japan wasn't that environment. Let him get through another 30, 40 minutes there. Boan Venter, get through 50 minutes at Lucerne. Jean Klein, have you a tough bugger from Munster, from the Stormers. Franco Mostert, another roll of the dice. Roan Nokia, everyone's saying he's the like-for-like swap. Are you ready to go? Krappies, no one's even mentioned you, Morne van den Berg. There's lots to play for with these guys. And then obviously we go back to Pippi Arendse, Edwil van der Merwe, and Damian Williams. Didn't look the happiest when he was subbed against France. Made because of the balance. They needed Sasha at 15. They needed Manie on at 10. So it's again that he's not risking any fatigue. He's actually saying every one of those guys, Van der Merwe, chomping at the bit. Damian Williams, I don't want to be pulled again. Kurtley Arendse needs the game time. Come on, guys. The whole country says this is the midfield we want to see. Polly, we know what you can do. Krappies, you're in there. Come on, Eskom. You've got to make yourself versatile. 8, 7, 6, 2. Where else can you play? So there's a challenge to all of these players. But what I'm loving about this tour is you started to see a bench form that we had in 2019 when it was first introduced, the bomb squad bench. The Wilco Louws, the Viking, the Roan Nokias, the Andre the Giant, Kwaggas. All of a sudden you're saying, and with the props, hang on a second, this is that power bomb squad, because there was a season ago where we thought the bomb squad was gone. Where do they replace them? And that to me is the most exciting part. We found a new bomb squad, and dare I say it, even more potent.
No, absolutely. I mean, Wilco, I think this is his 9th or 10th test of the year. I see somewhere in that range. Absolute revelation. Gerard Steenekamp, massively underrated. I think people started to appreciate his value during the time that he was out injured. And we just seem to keep unearthing these quality bridge trolls that could just destroy people at this set piece. So, very, very excited about it. I do have to say that I think Gonzo is a fantastic coach, the coach of Italy. And there is something to be said about cohesion. As much as these guys may have been prepping for 2 weeks to take on Italy, knowing that they were going to get picked, they haven't fired live ammo on the battlefield together before. You got Matt Carley's the ref. I think he's going to be very, very key in this game, especially because it's going to revolve around the breakdown a lot. And the Boks may again, for the second week in a row, have a massive task ahead of them in terms of problem solving on the fly, because they're going to have to kind of glue this team together as they go and sort of create their own cohesion. So the bookies, I think, have got the Boks as 20-point favorites. I think it might be a little bit less than that. I know the Boks blanked them 45-0 the last time they played. But I think there's a couple of contextual things that may influence this game and make it a bit closer. I do think the Boks win, but I just think it'll be a little bit closer than 20 points. What's your take?
Well, I think the Boks win, but if you want to know by how much, follow me on africapicks.com. Go there. I'm going to be giving my regular autumn internationals accumulator. I look at all the games and I kind of pick an accumulator. And again, I'm not saying I'm going to get it right. I'm looking at money value there. And if you were a betting person and you wanted to potentially make the maximum out of this game, that's what an acca is. That's what an accumulator is. Go there. So it's not like I got 5 out of 6 last weekend. The one banker, I would have had Australia to win. They didn't. It would have paid a lot more if I got Italy in there. I would have played the same bet again. I would have gone with Australia to win it, not Italy. But go and have a look and have a flutter. You may be in some cash, and then you can thank us. We did call the outright win. 27-16 was my score. Zels, you had a little bit closer, I think. Or you had 15 points. Well, it was 50. I think you had 8 points. And for the outright winner, you would have made some dosh from the Keo Zels show. So go to africapicks.com and have a look. The whole accumulator will be there. I cover all the 6 games that have been played this weekend. When I look at the Boks setup, obviously a nice game for Polly to get into. Ethan Hooker. We talk about versatility and the value of that in a Rassie Rasmus setup. We've seen how under the giant, and we started questioning what does Rassie see in him, because he's not going to take Deolandi's place. There's another 12 moving in potentially with Hooker. Willemse goes to 12. Well, now he's the first super hybrid back who's turned forward. Ethan Hooker has the opportunity to show Rassie he can play 12, 13, 11, and 14. That makes him, at 21 years old, hugely valuable to the Springbok setup for the next decade.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Ethan Hooker's versatility, massive, massive asset to the Boks. I think he will take this opportunity with both hands. I've said it before. I think Gaza is great at 12, but maybe not the right kind of guy for the way the Boks want to play. If you want to hammer at 12, then Ethan Hooker may be closer to what you're looking at. And he gets an opportunity to show that this week and sort of stake a claim for that 12 jersey going forward in the long run. Obviously, Damien de Allender and Jesse Kriel are 2 massively experienced guys, won 2 World Cups, who'll be trying to defend their positions. But this week, it's all about the youngsters. Do they plant their flag down there and really, really catch the eye? And the fact that they're not joining a team that's in full flow, that there is this lack of cohesion, as much as it's a challenge, it's also an opportunity, because if they star in this kind of a setup against a grizzly team like Italy in Italy, that's a great sign.
Yeah, and I think people should also be aware that performance here is not going to influence next week's selection against Ireland. That 23 fitness permitting has already been chosen. So it's not going to be a case of Polly scores 28 points. It's he's got to start. If Polly's going to start, he's already been told he's starting against Ireland. So this is about banking game time in the build-up to 2027 World Cup in Australia and becoming the first ever team to win 3 in succession, which would really seal any debate, I think, forever, because I can't see any team doing that again. New Zealand had 2. They got close to a 3rd successive one. England blew them out the water, and they ended up with back-to-back golds and a silver. A bronze, I mean, South Africa, they won 3 golds. But it's getting that game time in for a Zach Porthen to get 40 minutes against some Grizzlies in Turin playing for Italy, to get Jean Klein back on the field in test colors. He got recalled, he got injured, he got pulled out. We know his value. You're never going to bet against Sos in terms of that engine. I know he's one of your favorites. And then a guy that just chugs along and is Marco van Staden. I mean, they were going to end his career at Leicester. They wouldn't give him medical clearance. he's come back and he's played how much Test rugby, how many games for the Bulls, and I just love his center of gravity when he attacks. You just don't put a hit on him because you'll get a red card because he comes in at about 2 meters from the ground, 1 meter from the ground, and that's about it. So when I look at what's not playing, Zels, what's in the stands, what's on the bench, what's not starting, it's what we keep on talking about, the depth that has been built, but also they've got to be switched on. And this isn't a side that's going out and is going to play barbarians type rugby to prove that they belong in the starting 15 against Ireland. This is a group of players who knows you're 1, 2, and 3 for this specific match, and that could be different for the next match. I do get that sense. It's this absolute certainty about where each player sits in the pecking order, and it's not necessarily an out and right out pecking order of you're 1 and you're 3. You could be 1 for a certain opposition, but 3 for the other.
Yeah, and quite to the contrary, like not only is it not a match where guys are fighting for a place in the team to play Ireland, for some of these guys, this is their first and only chance this season to catch Rassie's eye in a test match. They know they're not playing against Ireland next week. For some of these guys, this is the bookend to their season or their year. And so they're going to come with everything they've got, you know. So I think a massively physical performance is going to come from these Boks. I think where the challenge is, like I said, is just the cohesion because these guys haven't played together. But it's a bit like the Boks are like the gladiator, you know. They fight with the trident in the net. You've seen them take down a few lions. You think, wow, these guys are amazing. Well, this week, it's still the same gladiator, but instead of a trident and a net, you know, he's got a 9-iron and a Mickey Mouse duvet, and he's taking on a cobra. So it's a whole different, it's the same character, it's the same challenge, but the opposition is different and some of the weapons are different. And now it's just to see, you know, can he come out of the arena alive? So it is a big challenge for the Boks, but I think that's the great thing about it is it narrows their focus. And like I said, none of these guys, I think, are looking ahead to next week. It's all about Italy, and that Juventus Stadium is going to be proper. It's going to be heaving, mate.
Yeah, and also you talk about the Juventus Stadium. It's as much as it's foreign for the Boks, it's pretty foreign for the Italian rugby team as well, because the Boks aren't playing Juventus. So it's a bit like when we take a visiting team to the FNB Stadium, 94,000. It's spectacular, but it's not a stadium that our players know particularly well. So rather take them to this park in terms of the battle. We know the commercial, and this is a commercial decision, taking them to Juventus's home stadium. The big thing for me there, Siya Kolisi is there. He got the 40 minutes. I think he'll go to 60, 70 minutes, fitness permitting. He'll really want to empty the tank. And just what he brings that team in leadership and experience, and just that presence. And now that he's got that 100th out of his way. So interesting, but also showing me how serious Rassie is taking this game, that Siya is there to captain the side. But again, the thing that I've loved all along with Rassie, and you said it, Zels, he's prepared to risk. He's prepared to get a 25-21 win or even a 1-point defeat, to show everyone in that squad you've either arrived at a certain point or you're not quite where you should be, because the biggest picture is doing well at the 2027 World Cup while winning more than they lose. And I compare that to a guy like Razor Robertson, who's getting through games and they're winning, but he's refusing to go outside of a core 28 players. I looked at his squad for this weekend. Billy Proctor comes in next to Quintapire. Leicester goes out onto the win again. There's no Ruben Love in that 23. They all raving about Ruben Love, a bit like we raved about Sasha, raved about Ethan Hooker. That kid's had 6 minutes this season. And you find there's one coach who's willing to really back kids. And Rassie has always spoken about it's not how many caps, it's how many minutes. How many minutes have I given you? And you look at that New Zealand side and you say some have been given too many minutes and some just not enough minutes. Because the big game on the calendar is England against New Zealand. And I just don't see how England loses this one.
That's exactly where I am, man. I was just about to say, and that's why England are going to win this week. I think a win for England is on the cards. New Zealand have had success against England historically, but I think the last couple of ones that took them, it's been a draw and a New Zealand win and a narrow New Zealand win. I think England do it this week. England are coming, mate. They've got a nice young crop of players coming through there. There's a new belief there. These Oaks are ready to go. So I'm quite keen to see them take the next step. And Razor's just got to learn, mate. He's got to roll the dice. You know, this slow poison death. He's sort of consigning himself to eventually getting fired this way without results. He needs to take a chance to try and win some games and learn something new and potentially unearth a talent that can take New Zealand back to where they need to be. So very much on the same page as you. As much as New Zealand does have weapons, you kind of get the feeling that they're in a bit of a holding pattern until Richie Mo'unga gets back there, because there's just nothing going on between Beauden Barrett and DMAC, two quality players, but neither of them have shown they can take the game by the scruff of the neck consistently and get this pack in the right parts of the field to go win games. So yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge for them at Twickenham, and I've got England to win that one too. What are your thoughts on Australia, Ireland?
Australia, Ireland, mates, shoulder to shoulder, together standing tall. Ireland will win this, and we'll be back. No, Ireland doesn't lose to Australia, mate, and they don't lose to them at the moment. I think there's something that's gone horribly wrong for the Aussies post the high of Ellis Park. And I think it happened in Perth, not even at Twickenham. I think they really thought they could take New Zealand in Perth, and they got pretty hammered. It was a 4 tries to 1, I think it was. They were well beaten, and they haven't taken any form. And they know Joe Smith's leaving, Les Kiss is arriving. So what's going to be interesting is how emphatically Ireland do win, or if they struggle to win, because this would be a game a couple of years ago we'd said never in doubt. Even though Australia have gone there with a struggling team in the past and just lost by 3 points, Michael Hooper's side had the opportunity to draw 13-all. They went for the line out and missed it, and it ended 13-10 to Ireland. So Ireland haven't necessarily put them away by big scores, but they put them away with comprehensive displays. I thought Ireland were very, very indifferent in that first 45 minutes against Japan. If you take the performance we put in against Japan, a 41-10, Australia just seemed in control against Italy at 17-7, and then just somehow played so much rugby, put themselves under pressure, got turned over, and just didn't have the class of player to come back. I look at a guy like, and we love him, Joseph Swahili. He just looks to be cruising through this tour when I compare how we started a year ago. So a year's a long time in rugby, a week's a long time in rugby. But, mate, it's going to be a very good afternoon of rugby. And we do another collab, obviously, with Castle, and they're doing the legacy cans of legends. So rally your squad, 130 years, the taste that stood the test of time, and you can win 130,000 Rand. But there's only one winner. So go onto their site. You'll see all the social media promotions on SA Rugby Magazine, on the Keo Zels WhatsApp, on the SA Rugby WhatsApp. Enter and look for those 6 cans. And it'd be great if you had a can a game for the weekend and you scored in every one of those. I'm looking at that French Fiji. You think on the surface, it's a great game. Two of the supposed romantics of the game. Galtier has taken a broom, an axe, or whatever you want to call it, to that French side. But the key about a lot of those Fijian players is they play in France. So exactly. I don't think fear factor, although when I looked at the game against England last week, 13-7 up, you just felt the discipline wouldn't be there, and ultimately the composure wouldn't be there. And 38-18 was a comfortable 20-point win. I like the look of Japan against Wales. What's your one there?
Yeah, that'd be a great game, I think. I'm actually looking forward to that one. I'm going to give it to Wales to find a way to win. I think Steve Tandy has got a plan there. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But I like the look of his back line. I see Lewis Rees-Zammit's back. Old Grease Lightning's back in the mix. Getting used to life without a helmet again. And I think Wales have got a few ideas about how they want to play. They got that poor man's Christian Cullen at the back. If the forwards can hold their own with Adam Beard and Dafford Jenkins in the second row, Dowie Lake at hooker, I think they'll be okay. But Japan will challenge them. If they're not smart, Eddie Jones will get a nice little win there.
Yeah, and it's all on SuperSport, channel 211, and I'm sure you're going to get the great insights of the likes of Skelton Berger, Victor Matfield. I think Bobo will be there. Hopefully Nick Mallet makes an appearance as well. It's going to be a great afternoon of rugby. The nicest thing for me is that the Boks kick it off at 2:40, an early kickoff, because that 22:10, thank goodness we don't play France too often at that time. Speaking to Oaks this week, they're still recovering from the day on Saturday to get to 22:10, then to make it to the final whistle to start the game again. SA Rugby Magazine Digital, 239,000 page views on Sunday. I think the first view was at midday. Or passed out. So that kind of thing. Just incredible interest in that match. And then the way it played out. And this week it's felt a bit different. people know there's a Bokke test match on Saturday, but this is like no disrespect to the occasion. It feels like a third and fourth playoff after last weekend's final, and I think that's why the focus is a little bit on how do Ireland perform against a Wallaby team we've played twice this year, and then also where is New Zealand in this pecking order? Because somehow they got out of jail against Scotland, somehow they got out of jail against Ireland after a dismal first 60 minutes in Chicago. And Razor seems to be thinking this is hard in test match footy, as he says. But I think it needs England to give them a proper pasting for New Zealand to realize something is amiss, because they seem to have quickly forgotten 43-10 by getting these wins. 43-10 was the glaringly obvious one, as in Buenos Aires, when Argentina dismantled them. And what England has got, which the Boks have got, and Argentina, when they want to turn on, they've got a pack. And that pack can cause New Zealand some serious problems, and then they can stifle all creativity. I like the fact that England's got a very, very confident, youthful, but powerful bench, and they've got good backs as well. For me, it's mover, and it started when they took the side without 12 Lions to Argentina. They won back-to-back test matches there. No mean feat. They looked very good there. They look like they'd added something to their game, and I'm looking forward to that game probably the most of the weekend when it comes to a proper rugby game. New Zealand's got out of jail 3 times in a row against them, the 2 in New Zealand 2 seasons back, and then that late escape at Twickenham last season. I just don't think they're good enough to win at the moment, and that may be what they need to kind of look elsewhere when it goes into next season. But I think it's going to be a riveting weekend of rugby. Zels, how's it going your side? How's it going with the Stormers? You guys prepping?
All good, all good. We've all been on the beach for weeks, mate. Not even thinking about the URC. No jokes. We're all getting ready for Munster, mate. Huge game coming up. Munster, very, very tough team. And speaking of tough, mate, Argentina, I think people are overlooking them. They're playing Scotland this weekend, mate. I've got them to beat the Scots. And as a little flutter here, mate, I have got Australia to win against Ireland. We all wrote them off after the Lions series, and then they came and punked the Boks on the Highveld, mate. I think they've got it in them. As much as they've got major flaws, this is exactly where the Wallabies seem to function. So I'm going to pick them and Argentina to win. Don't put your money on it. I'll put mine on it. And let's see how they go.
Is this a Joe Schmidt finale? A little Joe Schmidt saying, the way I want to leave international rugby, at least for this year, because he may be back next year in another colour, is to say, Australia, let's go to Dublin, to the Aviva, and let's hand my old team a defeat.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. I think this is where this Wallabies team really thrives. After they come into a game like this, where they're basically written off completely against an Ireland team that's got a lot of question marks hanging over them as well. I think these guys can turn things around. If Ireland don't play smart against these guys, they do have that X factor. They do really, really want to end this year on a high. So I think a win against Ireland rights a lot of wrongs for the Wallabies this season. And they managed to do it to the Boks on the Highveld. They'll be asking themselves, why not in Dublin? So here's hoping.
All right. So Bokke Friday, wear green and gold on Friday. And go on to SA Rugby Magazine Digital. When that pop-up comes, click on it, register. 100,000 Rand took Zels' monthly salary since left, and we put it there as a prize. 100,000 Rand that you can win. You just register and you go into the draw. That will be made next June before the international season starts. And over that next 6-7 months, there's going to be some great prizes to give away as well. We'll talk about test match tickets. We talk about jerseys, but 100K. SA Rugby Magazine. Go onto the digital side, check out for that pop banner, and click and deliver. Like the Boks will. I got the Boks win. If you want to know by how much, follow me on africapick.com.